First at noon, the Trump administration has filed lawsuits against several states, including Hawaii, over what officials call unconstitutional state climate actions. For Hawaii specifically, the Justice Department says it wants to prevent Hawaii from suing fossil fuel companies in state court for damages for, quote, alleged climate change harms. The DOJ says these actions are preempted by the Clean Air Act and would violate the Constitution. President Trump recently directed Attorney General Pam Bondi to take action to stop the enforcement of state laws that would burden domestic energy development. We are awaiting a response from Hawaii leaders. Meanwhile, President Trump will be looking for a new person to lead his national security team, with National Security Advisor Mike Waltz leaving to take up a new position. Erica Brown has more from the White House.
National Security Advisor Mike Waltz briefly greeted reporters Thursday morning at the White House, shortly after the news broke he was leaving his post.
If Mike's leaving, that's the president's decision, and we support that.
President Trump posted on social media, "I am pleased to announce that I will be nominating Mike Waltz to be the next United States ambassador to the United Nations." Waltz came under fire in March when he inadvertently included a reporter in a group chat on the messaging app Signal, in which Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth discussed sensitive military details about a planned strike on Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job. Pete, thank you.
President Trump acknowledged Hegseth during an event in the Rose Garden Thursday and maintains he's standing by the defense secretary, who has also faced backlash for disclosing sensitive details in the chat.
This administration has already shown that they're incapable of nominating people for these very important roles who are actually qualified to do the job.
President Trump says Secretary of State Marco Rubio will temporarily assume the duties of National Security Advisor. The change comes as the White House works to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine and bring Iran to the table to talk about its nuclear program. Waltz sent a message to Iran Thursday morning just before his change in job status.
Iran needs to get the message that it can be a responsible country, that the President of the United States wants peace. He's ready to make a deal, and that it cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Secretary Hegseth issued a strong warning to Iran about its support of the Houthi rebels, saying on social media, "You will pay the consequence at the time and place of our choosing." Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Also, the U.S. and Ukraine have signed a long-awaited deal giving the U.S. access to important rare earth minerals. Ukraine hopes to get greater protection from Russia in return. The White House says it signals to Russia that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process for a free Ukraine over the long term. Funds from this deal would go towards paying the U.S. for future military aid and to establish a joint fund for Ukraine's reconstruction. Well, you can expect to pay higher prices on everything from shoes to building supplies as tariffs affecting shipping routes to Hawaii. That's according to an article in the Star Advertiser today. Trade experts told the advertiser that looming tariffs are already affecting trans-Pacific shipping routes, even though they haven't taken effect yet. That's because the threat of tariffs has already caused a trade slowdown. About a quarter of the ships scheduled to reach LA this month have already been canceled, which means fewer ships will be headed this way. And state lawmakers have killed a proposed ban on assault weapons, saying the guns are needed by hunters and residents who deal with wild animals. The proposal, considered the broadest firearm ban in state history, would have prohibited the import or resale of semi-automatic rifles with detachable magazines, semi-automatic shotguns that hold more than 5 shells, and handguns with more than 10 rounds. Those who want them banned say it would reduce the risk of mass shootings, but opponents say it's unfair to law-abiding citizens who already have these firearms.
We are actually making them criminals by possession of magazines that we had legalized before they bought it. And now, by their mere possession, because we decide to pass this bill, we decide to label them as criminals.
The grandfathering is already in there. This bill will make us safer, not less safe. Now, the big picture is this amendment creates a huge carve-out for the sale of assault weapons. If we pass it, it basically eviscerates the underlying bill.
The state Senate president cast the deciding vote that sent the bill back to a committee, but with 1 day left in the legislative session, it will have to wait until next year. For the first time in nearly 3 decades, the city will have a department dedicated to building affordable housing. The City Council approved the creation of the Department of Housing and Land Management. 51 full-time employees will oversee work previously done by the Departments of Land Management, Community Services, Planning and Permitting, and the Mayor's Office of Housing. A housing development division will lead projects on city-owned land, and a housing finance division will be in charge of funding. For more information, head to honolulu.gov/DHLM. And Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi will be holding a town hall meeting in Kahuku tonight. Kahuku, Laie, and Hau'ula residents will be able to share their concerns with the mayor and other city leaders. They'll also answer questions about upcoming projects in the area. It begins at 7 in the Kahuku High School and Intermediate Cafeteria, and this is the 4th of 7 town hall meetings the mayor is holding throughout Oahu. On the Big Island, authorities have suspended the search for Jared Williford after finding no signs of the missing kayak fisherman. Crews had been searching since Sunday after the 42-year-old disappeared off West Hawaii. Williford launched from the Keauhou boat ramp Sunday morning, and the unmanned kayak was later seen drifting south. A foul-smelling problem on Kauai has people wondering why it keeps happening and how much more they can take. Ben Gutierrez has the story.
This is the 3rd time. First time not so bad. The 2nd time really bad. This past time just as bad.
Terrence Dominique's art and consignment shop got flooded last week when 6,000 gallons of wastewater spilled from the Wailua Cocoa Palm sewer pump station. Dominique's business is in the Wailua Shopping Plaza on Kuhio Highway, just across the street from the station.
It was disgusting, and so tried to find out what happened. Tried to get them to help us cone off the area so people wouldn't walk through it or drive their cars through it.
Dominique says it cost him $11,000 to hire a contractor to clean up the last time. He can't afford that now and is trying to do it himself.
It's a going issue where that I have to clean up and kind of disinfect the place with the best ability of my ability.
The county says the spill was the result of an electrical failure that affected the primary pumps and backup generators. It also says the spilled sewage either evaporated or was pumped up by a truck, and the area was disinfected with bleach and chlorine tabs. But the odor is lingering.
There's still that smell in the air, and it happens a lot during Kona winds, but it's pretty strong right now. I can smell it.
And Dominique says he's still cleaning up inside his business.
Even though I cleaned up with bleach, as best I could, but it's still there because it's embedded in certain parts of the walls, the baseboards.
The county also says none of the sewage made it into state waters, but others say it got into their nearby neighborhoods.
We're saying that it's probably the sewage that came into our little ditch here. If I had done that, wouldn't I get slapped with a fine?
All of these spills come with a cost to the county because at the end of the day, we'll end up getting claims and we'll end up having to pay for it.
Raposo says the council is pushing to get some kind of resolution shortly, but Dominique says he's running out of patience.
I'm almost kind of over it now. I'm looking at almost just closing indefinitely or relocating. I just can't go through this every 4 or 5 months.
That's Ben Gutierrez reporting. Now to a live look at Kilauea. There have been some small bursts of lava, but the USGS is not calling it episode 19. Episode 18 of the Halima'uma'u eruption ended on April 22nd, and scientists experts predict the eruption will officially resume within the next 4 days. We're going to keep an eye on it and bring you any updates on air and online at hawaiinewsnow.com.
And happy Lei Day, everybody. It's beautiful outside today. Right now, we're seeing temperatures around 86 degrees, easterly winds around 17 miles per hour. The trades are back. They're going to be sticking around all the way through this weekend. They might be a little bit more variable by the time we get to the beginning of next week. Expanding this out, you'll notice we're still going to be warm this afternoon. The trade should help us cool off a little bit. You can see our winds outside right now. We're actually seeing northerly winds in town around 17 miles per hour. In Kahului, around 20 miles per hour out of the northeast, but an overall east and northeast flow. And I want to give you a quick look at our first alert VOG forecast. Compared to what we've been seeing recently, where we've had those variable and southeasterly winds, the VOG is going to be staying away from the rest of the island chain, still of course impacting the Kona coast of Hawaii Island and areas just downwind of Kilauea. I'll give you a further breakdown on this in my full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Drew. Well, it's May 1st, which means it's Lei Day in Hawaii. Celebrations for the symbol of aloha are happening all around the state. Dylan Ancheta joins us live from Kapi'olani Park, where one of the biggest events is underway. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, aloha, Ashley. May Day is Lei Day here in Hawaii, and Kapi'olani Park is filled with so many beautiful people adorning their finest Hawaiian lole, their lei, their papale. It kind of feels like Merry Monarch all over again, minus the hula competition. Happening right now, the 2025 Lei Court is taking their photos, and as you can see, the beautiful crowd that has gathered, they're simply adoring this Lei Court. We just saw the Lei Queen perform her hula for the audience. Her name is Ku'ulealoha Lanos, First Princess Pualeilani Kamahoahoa, and Princess Jean Pomare. We also saw ho'okupu that were presented by a lot of people here in the audience, as well as hula halau o hokulani. And this is such a special day here in Hawaii because it celebrates the art of wearing lei, making lei, and sharing lei. And happening right now, the court is about to exit the stage area and also open the lei contest. The lei contest is a very popular feature of this celebration here. We've got hundreds of lei lined up there. The ribbons will be placed next to the winners, so we are so excited to see who takes the top prize there. Some other entertainment lined up for today. We have Hula Halau o Ike Manu with Kumuhula Bradford Lum and Halau Hula o Hokulani coming up at 4 p.m. So there's a lot of fun things happening today. We're going to be talking story with some people here and bring you more from this beautiful celebration in later editions of Hawaii News Now. So in the meantime, wear your lei proudly and share it with those you love. Live at Kapi'olani Park, I'm Dylan Ancheta, Hawaii News Now.
Well, head on This Is Now after President Trump signed an executive order to boost the deep-sea mining industry. Native Hawaiian leaders are worried about the threat to ocean life and resources. Plus, after closing down its Chinatown location, a popular lounge is reopening in Waikiki just in time for Lei Day. Casey Lund takes us there in 2 minutes. and environmental leaders are raising the alarm after President Trump signed an executive order to fast-track the deep-sea mining industry. Now, that involves extracting rare minerals from the bottom of the sea floor. The metals company is seeking international regulatory approval to start commercial mining in a zone between Hawaii and Mexico this year. Native Hawaiian and environmental groups protested 2 years ago at Sand Island and are now considering a lawsuit.
There's an entire potential for disruption of all ecosystems that is at stake. And that is why the international community and the scientists themselves are ready now to say, maybe we need to pause on this.
Developed over 20 years, 1 billion tons could create more than 100,000 jobs, generate 300 billion in GDP, and revitalize shipyards, offshore industries, and manufacturing.
I see absolutely no reference to environmental protection whatsoever in the president's executive order. The word environment is mentioned once.
A U.S. House committee held a hearing on the issue on Tuesday, and Hawaii Congressman Ed Case introduced measures calling for a moratorium on deep-sea mining. The measures are still pending. Well, May Day is a celebration of culture and tradition in Hawaii, and there's a new spot opening in Waikiki that aims to do just that. Casey Lund shows us around and tells us what else is happening around town for Lei Day.
Just in time for Lei Day, the Lei Stand, which you may remember from Chinatown, has a new home here at Romer House, Waikiki. They're excited to be back. And to talk a little bit about that excitement, Ryan Kalei-Suji is with us, co-founder of the Lei Stand. You guys are amped to bring this to a new market in Waikiki.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we are so lucky to have a loyal fan base of locals, but one of the things about being here in Waikiki is being able to attract tourists and visitors and really share with them this Lei culture. You know, one of the things that I often get asked all the time, being on television, is where do you get your Lei? Well, today we have the master who makes all of my Lei, and excited for him as he enters the contest at Kapiolani Park.
Yeah, Dale Akoba is with us. And so Ryan was mentioning, you might see some of Dale's creations on Spectrum when Ryan's covering volleyball. This is beyond, you know, most of the Lei that you're going to see. And one of my favorite things, by the way, I do want to, before we get to Dale, I'll point you over to the Lei cooler over here at the Lei Stand, because a lot of times there's not a good place when you're going to an event or going somewhere to get a nice, beautiful quality Lei. If you want something more than an orchid Lei, now they have some of Dale's work here, so important to note there. By the way, you're making Lei right now, correct?
I am. So this is a green rose Lei that I'm making. It's probably one of my favorite Leis. It's a Lei that you barely see nowadays because of nobody's really planting the plant nowadays.
Yeah, and Dale, I want to also just show, this is, I mean, when you open the box that you have these in, I think everybody kind of took a big gasp. This is absolutely beautiful. You're entering the Lei making contest at Kapiolani Park for Lei Day. I'm blown away by these. Tell me a little bit about your style. Tell me a little bit about what inspires you with these pieces that you have right here.
A lot of the inspiration still comes from the Leis from the past. A lot of my materials are pretty unconventional, if you could see that. But this one, the white one, kind of like mimics the texture of Ilima. I like to manipulate my materials as well. So Song of India, usually they use it as a ribbon. I like to roll it, it's fun. And this is probably one of my favorites this year.
Beautiful.
This was inspired by Ali'i. This is actually moringa seeds. And it took forever to make.
Yeah, I can imagine. Dale, these are absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, like I said, Ryan wears those beautiful kind of two-tone Lei that I see him wear a lot, the two different flowers. Where can folks find find you if they want like a custom Lei or something like that?
They can message me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mainly, it's at 37VP.
Yeah.
Nothing clever. It's just my name upside down.
I love that. If we can, yeah, let's get Dale's Instagram if we have that. Put that up there, and you're gonna be able to see some of his work again. It's gonna be in the Lei Day celebration. Your third time entering,
Third time this year, yes.
Dale Akoba with us today, as well as Ryan Kalei-Suji from the Lei Stand right here at Romer House, Waikiki. Happy Lei Day. We'll send things back to you for now.
Hey, thanks, Casey. Stick around. We'll walk you through our first alert forecast after the break. Trade winds are here to stay through the weekend, and sunny skies are ahead.
weather with Drew Davis.
Well, happy Lei Day, everybody. We've got trade winds and sunny skies in the forecast through the weekend. They'll get a little bit breezy, the trade winds will, over the weekend and beyond. So let's break down what's going on again outside. Beautiful out there, 86 degrees, easterly winds around 17 miles per hour, and expanding this out throughout the rest of this afternoon and evening. We'll be in the green, seeing fair weather across most of the state. Really nice weather expected throughout this weekend. Maybe some passing windward showers, but overall, it's going to be really nice out there. Just a quick look at our first alert radar and satellite. You're not seeing very much, maybe some activity off to our southwest, but really we're only seeing some light sprinkles along the Kilauea and maybe a little bit over the windward side of Oahu, Maui County. Relatively dry, windy enough to where we are seeing some of those wind returns on the first alert radar and satellite. This is this fuzzy things, these fuzzy pattern that's showing up on the radar, and that's because the wind, the trade winds are picking up some sea salt and sea spray where it's actually getting picked up, lofted up and high enough into the atmosphere, getting picked up by the first alert radar and satellite. As we're going forward in our first alert futurecast, really not much to talk about besides a couple of passing showers. By the time we get to the beginning of next week, we might see winds get a little bit more variable, a little bit more cloud cover out there. A weak front, a weak disturbance is going to impact us, but really rainfall totals are varying in the models right now. And a quick look at our first alert windcast as well. Going forward over the next couple of afternoons, you can see Friday around 11 a.m. between 15 to 20 mile per hour sustained winds, so wind gusts could be much higher than this, closer to 25 to potentially even 30 miles per hour. And a quick look at our surf and shoreline forecast. Northwest and south facing shores all on the rise. We're tracking that country swell peaking this afternoon, and a south-southwest swell out there for Thursday afternoon, and east-facing shores around 2 to 4. These are going to be rising due to the breezy trade, so it could get a little bit choppy out on east-facing shores. And a quick look at our first alert VOG forecast as well. Very different from what we were seeing earlier this week with the VOG just sitting over the state with those southeasterly and variable winds. We've got easterly winds pushing the VOG away from the island chain. Here's a quick look at our first alert 7-day forecast. Really nice weather throughout the rest of today and Friday. A little bit more cloud cover out there throughout this weekend. Still very warm, a lot of sunshine still, and breezy trades are expected. East-northeasterlies between 10 to 25, and you can see at the end of next week, conditions could get even breezier.
Thank you, Drew. Well, coming up, candy makers are getting an early start on Halloween. A look at some of the goodies trick-or-treaters may be bringing home this year.
for some good news now. A zoo in Germany unveiled 2 recently born golden lion tamarin monkeys. The endangered monkeys are native to forests in Brazil. These cubs were seen leaping from branch to branch, scavenging for food, and even poking at a sleepy sloth. Usually the species gives birth annually to twins, which all family members help to raise by bringing them food and carrying them on their backs. And I gotta say, they look adorable.
They are.
Yeah. And we're officially halfway to Halloween.
That's crazy. And to get excited about the spooky season, candy maker Mars is unveiling a sweet lineup of goodies with a thrilling twist. Check them out. They're releasing a new M&M's Halloween blend and also bringing back the M&M's milk chocolate pumpkin pie for a second year. Now, according to Mars, chocolate reigns supreme on Halloween, and M&M's is the top brand for the holiday. Other goodies you'll see include a ghoulish green Twix and Snickers. And for those of you who like fruity candy, there is a Skittles Shriekers.
I can't believe they're releasing candy like 6 months out from Halloween.
You got to get the hype going, Drew.
I know. You got to start early. And now to a live look over at Kilauea.
Oh, look at that.
Earlier, we were just seeing it bubble just a little bit. It's still going. We're watching closely to see if we see another eruption. Of course, you're going to find the latest information on Hawaii News Now here on air and at hawaiinewsnow.com.
Yeah, speaking of Halloween, it kind of looks like a witch's cauldron.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. This is Now, everybody. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL. Happy May Day.